Hello. Welcome to What's That All About? I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it is like cataclysmically pouring outside right now. I'm telling you right now, moving to Idaho the first year, warm summer, kind of not really that rough of a winter. I mean, I'm from the east. I'm used to four seasons. Well, here there's two. Winter for 7 months, wet. I don't know if that's a season. I guess they call it spring back east. Here it's wet, just wet. And then it goes right into sonic summer and then back to snow like come October. So anyway, it's thundering and lightning and the dog is not happy, so she's glued. She's glued to me. But that's okay. That's okay because she doesn't make any noise. She just shakes. It's very sad. But I'm telling you about this today because actually it's sort of really creepy outside right now. And this is sort of creepy. I've been going on like these binges while my husband's away at work up in Alaska. And this one is no different. It was a binge. What I'm going to say right now, full disclosure, it's worth watching. So it's called the 28-Day Experiment. No, it's not. It's called 28 Days Haunted. The experiment is based off of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were like legendary paranormal people that they went to Amityville. I'm sure we've all heard of Amityville, places like that. So in The Conjuring, right? Those were based off of their investigations. Those things. Oh my God, so creepy. But anyway, I've been watching so much scary stuff because my husband's not a huge fan of it. Not that he's afraid, it's just that he's not a big fan of it. So anyway, this it was a series. It was only one season of it. I don't know if they're going to do another one, but it was the premise of it is this, okay? Tony Spera, who is actually Ed and Lorraine's grandson, set up this. It was his idea. It's his brainchild. So according to the notes and all these things written by Ed and Lorraine before they passed, obviously, because they're both gone. Um, According to them, they said in order to get as close to the paranormal activity as possible in a location that is technically a hotspot or supposedly haunted, you have to like immerse yourself in it for 28 days. Okay, so what Tony is doing with this series, or I don't know, can you call it a series if there's only been one season of it? I don't know. Anyway, there's episodes. So he had three teams, okay? And each team, well, two of the teams had three members, and then one team had just two. Okay. And they go to three different locations in the United States. And I'll tell you about all that and stuff. But one of the teams is made up of just two people, like I said, and they are a medium and a demonologist. And then the other teams are made up of a sensitive, a kind of more like a skeptic, sort of. And then one team has a psychic, it's a guy, and also kind of a skeptic. And which I just call like the tech guys because they're sort of like always looking for a more reasonable explanation for things that happen. But when you see some of the stuff that if you decide to watch this, um, you may you may start believing in it too. Like it, it's kind of trippy. It's kind of trippy. So okay. So having said that, they are taken blindfolded to these locations, so they know nothing about where they're going and they're all strangers. They don't know each other prior to this. Oh no, wait, that's not true. There is a team that they've worked together before, but I don't know if the other team had if they knew each other. My God, this is what I get when I've inundated my brain with so much horror movies and such. I have like, wasn't that awful? Anyway, well, you'll have to watch it and find out. But they definitely don't know anything about their locations. They don't know the history behind them or anything. And I will let you know, I have like a little list, a little brief history on each of the locations. But I first want to tell you about a couple of the things that happen while they're there. Mother, I'd be running out the door and saying, all set. But These guys, brave. Here they go. Okay, so the team of two, they go to North Carolina. They go to a place called Madison Dry Goods Country Store. Okay, a lot of creepy stuff happens here. Now, they, the demonologist is an interesting man. Eh, he's very interesting, but he's also not healthy. Like I'm just gonna say he's not healthy. And so that's the two-person team, and the medium for that is she's a cool chick. I think her name is Brandy. She's cool. I liked her. She was kind of like chain smoking outside the store at 3 a.m. She's kind of cool. But anyway, she's kind of ballsy too. She really is. So that was one location. Then in Denver, Colorado, there is a place called the Lumber Baron Inn. Okay. And this location, I kind of want to go here. This there's a sensitive that she calls herself a sensitive, and then there's these two guys who know each other who have worked together before. And they have some serious shit happen. So that's the other location. And then there's a place called the Captain's Inn that's in Prescott, Connecticut. I know this place. I haven't been there, but I'm aware of this place being from the East Coast. So anyway, so they all go to their respective areas. They have no idea what to expect because they have no idea where they are. And there is nothing around them. Wow, that is really what the sun's going to come out now. It's been torrential downpouring and now it's going to. Anyway, you know what? Give me 1 second. One quick second. Okay. That better? And the side of my head isn't lit up like a Roman candle. Okay. So, alrighty then. They show you on this show, though, some of the coolest methods. Now, I've heard of the spirit box. I've seen that used. It's that wicked loud, like, it's almost like the worst tuned radio you could ever imagine, and it's very static sounding, but you have to play it really loud, and supposedly spirits come close enough to it and can talk through it, so you can ask questions and whatnot. Now these are the different things that happen at the various locations, and Tony, the guy who's doing the show, he checks in on each of them, as the days go by. Now he measures it in sort of like chunks, so each episode is like a week. So you've got the first is like, night 1 through night 7. And then you get 7 or 6 or whatever. And then you get 7 through 14, 14 through 21, and then 21 through 28. They leave on the 29th day. Okay. It got interesting. I'm going to say that. So some of these spirits that technically are supposedly in these locations, they don't know what they're getting into, like I said, but they are people with the sensitive person and the medium and the psychic. Those people, all their like immediate reaction is to try and help these spirits that are supposedly stuck. So I mean, I can, I don't know, that's kind of, I can appreciate that. But the other team members are, like I said, there's a skeptic like on the other two teams, not the demonologist. The demonologist definitely is a believer in spirits, dark spirits. But so these guys are all conducting their experiments at these different locations. And like I said, Spirit Box was used first by a lot of them. Then they go to EVPs, which is electric voice phenomenon. And that's just used with a tape recorder, Excuse me. And honestly, like when you're doing an EVP, I've done this before where you don't hear it in the moment. You don't hear an answer. Like if you ask a question, you're not hearing it audibly. But if you go back and check the tape kind of thing with more advanced equipment, you hear the answer if there is one. And then there's something called, I'd never seen this before, so I was really kind of blown away by it. It's called the Essies Method. And what happens is they put blindfolds on and then noise canceling headphones, and they use the spirit box. And the other team members is one person who actually in one instance, two of the guys put all this stuff on, and the one girl left, the sensitive, she did the question asking. And these guys, what happens is when you're in this, like, it heightens your awareness of what you can hear in your mind's eye kind of thing, and they just start spitting out, different things, and they have no idea where these things are coming from or what the names mean that they're hearing, or cuz like I said, they know nothing about the history of these locations, the tragic history behind these locations. Um and then there are EMF readings, the electromagnetic field. So um, you can tell when a spirit's close, that kind of sends the needle all nutty. But there's also something called, I had never seen it done before, and it's called sensory deprivation. And what this one team did in Colorado was they put this guy, one of the members of the team, in a tent, and inside that tent was a just like long enough for him sized pool filled with salt and water, so salt water. And he lays in there, I think it was like 30 minutes, and all his other senses like just heightened. He thought he had gifts like that he just sort of ignored, so he was actually blown away when all of a sudden he's in there and he's starting to get like visual clues of things that happened. And he was really, really vivid. And like he came out knowing for sure that there had been, women murdered where they were. Okay. Which did fit into some of the things that had been happening. Um, Now, another really creepy thing is that I don't know if you've heard this before, but mirrors can be portals for in or out. So you can either have spirits come through normally, not the good kind, but you can, in some instances, send through a spirit that's been stuck too. But that only happens if you've blessed the mirrors, according to, my research and what I've read about it. So this one team that had done, they even did a seance. This one team was really pretty progressive. They did the tent thing and then the water thing, and then they did a seance. And then they asked the sensitive to do a thing called scrying, which is when you look into the mirror. And I guess she had a really bad experience with it and just refused. She flat out refused to do it because a dark spirit followed her back to wherever she lived. And she had to deal with that for a long time, I guess. So really, she was like, I'm not doing it. And then like, well, what about with a candle? And she's like, yes, I'll do a candle. That does not freak me out half as much as a mirror. So anyway, scrying, I had never heard of it. So with the candle, they do like you look right off to the side of it so you're not like searing your eyeballs. And it's supposed to open up your sensors for, mind's eye stuff again. So anyway, that was another thing. Okay. So they're doing all this cool stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. In the location with the two person team, the demonologist started to change. Okay. I noticed in the second set of days, so like the 7 to 14, these team members really started to change. They were nipping at each other. Some of their personalities really got dark. And it is said by Ed and Lorraine, they had made notes that, now keep in mind, I should tell you, these guys, these teams did not know that they were part of this 28-day experiment. So to them, it means nothing, the 28-day thing. So they're not acting out of any kind of preconceived, maybe we should start acting weird now because it's halfway through or whatever. So it's nothing like that. They are totally blind, literally and figuratively. But they started to act different. And the demonologist, especially, he was sleeping a lot. And the medium was like, I can't, you're not even participating. Like, you're just, something's wrong with you. And then he got real mad. And he is a large man. Large man. He had to be taken to the hospital because he was having all signs of what a heart attack would mimic, I should say. He went to the hospital, damnedest thing, all his symptoms went away as soon as he was away from the atmosphere of the dry goods store. So he comes back and claims that he's going to draw strength from his scriptures and all this stuff. And I mean, I don't, I'm not religious, so I can't really talk to that. But if it works for him, more power to him. So, in other locations while this was going on, like they show footage of cabinet doors, poltergeist type stuff, which is really fucking scary. And also in the captain's at the captain's inn, they found Captain Grant's inn. They found writing on the mirror after a shower. The psychic did on his mirror. But see, like one of the other team members accused him of doing it. And they got into like a total, dick fight over it, and they sounded like idiots and little children. But that's the other thing. These fights were really childish. They were really childish. Like these spirits were having a field day, it seemed like, with them, and they were messing with their emotions. And really, I mean, these people were in a vulnerable state. And also during the second week, all the sensitives, so the psychic, the medium, and the sensitive, they all named themselves different things, but they were definitely being kind of um, zeroed in on by the spirits for sure, because they were really drained emotionally, physically. They were getting attacked. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about what each place had as a history. And I mean, it won't come as a surprise that there was so much activity going on. So at the Lumber Baron Inn, which was in Denver, Colorado, the guy who did the pool thing, sensory deprivation thing, there were two women that had been killed by a guy who apparently they found also a hidden tunnel in the basement of the location they were in. And inside this little tunnel, there were like clippings from the newspaper about the murders of these women. And then there was also a manhole where it could one of the team members pushed it open and he got right out and was out and about. And he goes, "Oh my God, this guy was coming and going anytime he wanted." That killer was never caught. That's terrifying. That's really scary. Excuse me. And at the Madison dry goods store where the demonologist was being partially possessed, they thought, by the one of the spirits, they found out that the father and a family lived there, but he killed his whole family, then himself. And the reason behind it was that he impregnated his oldest daughter. And instead of dealing with the shame of what would come for sure if people found out, when people found out, instead he just killed everybody. It is believed that this dark spirit was attached to the father at the time, and that same dark spirit was trying to attach to this demonologist. Yeah. So, horrible, naturally. Now, the last place, the Captain Grant's Inn in Prescott, Connecticut, this is actually more sad. This was really just a story about a spirit that was stuck at the house, that really, it was the wife of Captain Grant. All she wanted to do was go with her husband, but a darker spirit was keeping her there. But the psychic that was there on the team for that location really got emotional. He really did everything he could to help her pass through wherever and to be with her husband. And at the very last, kind of follow up at the end, they say, "Are you still here?" And just give us a sign that you're, and all you get from in a female voice was you hear from the spirit box, "Home." And of course, like psychics like bawling his eyes out. But it was just, it had a little bit of everything. Let me tell you though, I jumped a couple times. I mean, it's fucking spine tingling to see some of this shit in action. And if it's all true and it's not bullshit, and the 28-day experiment is something that's real, I'd totally be down for doing that if I had somebody brave enough to join me, because I would not go by myself. And I know my husband wouldn't go with me. I have a feeling my friend Gail would go with me, but I don't know. We'd probably just end up fucking throwing tunes on and doing a dance party or something just to not be scared. But A lot of spirits, they think at the end of this, medium, psychic, and sensitive, they all claim that they felt like they helped in some way just by acknowledging some of these spirits. Like the women who were killed at the one of the locations, they feel like just acknowledging that they existed at one time helped them in some way. Have some, I don't know if they were able to move on or whatever, but scary shit, guys. Scary shit. But anyway, sweet dreams are made of these, right? I hope you are staying happy and healthy at least, and stay weird. And until next time, take good care. Bye.